Greetings to all our listeners. If you've clicked on this video, you've made the right choice on this Sunday afternoon. You're in the right place. So get your drinks, get your snacks, perhaps whatever else you prefer as we look ahead to this Manchester City versus Manchester United game. Can Pep Guardiola's City put an end to this Manchester derby rivalry, at least for this year? Or will the paper-thin Manchester United get away with murder at the Etihad and as well as Old Trafford? Well, we will look to try answer that question. Well, by we, I mean the two gentlemen that are always joining me, Shawnee and Rita, as usual. Now, let's have a look at both teams' forms. Manchester United have lost 2, drawn 1, and won 2 in the last 5. Very inconsistent indeed. One of those losses, of course, contributing to the poor start of the new year. For Manchester City, a little bit different for them. 4 wins, 1 loss to Wolves, funnily enough. So, on paper, gentlemen, it definitely does favour Manchester City. But as we know, football isn't won on paper. How stressed do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going into this match, gentlemen?
Yeah, this guy's not stressed, man. This guy, he's there relaxed. He's there smiling. He's there like, I'm at the wheel. I'm at the wheel of Man United. And he's having the best time of his life, man. Clown. Actually, clown.
Yeah, no, I think he is. I think he might know that he won't lose his job anytime soon because he can see the board backs him, but he won't want the results to get too bad. And he knows how important domestic cups are for United this season. So I think he'll be very stressed. I think he's going to go very strong for this game.
Oh, Shawnee, we're only 2 minutes into the podcast, isn't it? A little bit too soon to be slating Ollie? I don't know.
Nope.
Well, looking at this, then I want to bring your attention the rumours, and we'll only touch on this briefly. The rumours, the swap deal, Madison. Don't know if you've heard about it for Lingard. How much of a hand do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have played in those rumours or in those transfer talks?
I don't know. You know, I don't know. I feel like this just came out of nowhere. What kind of joke deal is that? 45 plus no ways, no. Plus Lingard. So you're basically giving Leicester 45 million. You're trying to rob them. Blindly. You're just like, no, just give me
Daylight robbery.
If for a team to take Lingard, United will have to also pay them. Like, just like that. They'll be like, we'll give you Lingard and 50 million, just take him.
50?
Boy, you have to pay. You can give me Lingard £10 and I wouldn't take him for my Indo team.
Yeah. Lingard plus 90. I think United will offer because, the right players at the right price. So I think it's clear that Madison is that right player, the player that Ole wants. So they will offer for him. But I don't think that offer is genuine. I think that's just journalists trying to make something out of nothing. Like, really, 45 plus Lingard?
I think this has come from a credible source, in all fairness. And
really?
I will say that I've seen stranger things in my time in football. So I wouldn't look past it too much.
Okay.
Of course, there's a bit of an apathy floating around in the Manchester United community at the moment, understandably so.
Maybe it's true, but no way in hell Leicester going to agree to that.
Leicester's probably not.
I agree.
Well, look, the question wasn't whether or not Leicester would agree. The question is how much of a hand it's Ole playing in that. But anyways, moving on then. Rita, this one is tailor-made for you to kick off the show, to really set the mood. How well do you think Manchester City will set up? Do you think this is a game they will take seriously in terms of personnel and tactics? Or do you think this is one where they'll look to rotate players and maybe just give some of the younger lads a bit of a chance? What do you think is Pep's thinking going into this? Break it down for us.
Yeah, I think he'll take it serious. He won't play his whole first team because he realizes that other players need game time. So I can see Angelino or Zinchenko or Foden playing, but he'll take it seriously because he knows that they need to win domestic cups. They're not going to win the league. They need to win. They need to try win both domestic cups and win the Champions League to have a good season. So I think he'll take it very seriously. I think playing-wise, I think he'll be ready for us. Pep will never change his playing style. He's going to come at us like he came at us in the derby in the league. But I think he'll be smart about how he defends. He won't just throw everybody forward like they did, and they were vulnerable to our counter. So I think he'll actually learn a lot from how Arteta played against us. And that's kind of a blueprint to how he might go. Maybe more so the first half.
The standards of Pep Guardiola, really one word, excellence to describe them. And there's a perfectionism about his management style, not just in the tactics, but in the way he loves to go on and win pretty much everything he can get his hands on, no matter what club he's at. So no doubt he will take this fixture seriously at all. What are you guys' expectations going into this match from a United point of view?
Nothing. I think he's gonna do normal, sit back, counter, hope he gets something, and yeah, that's pretty much it with this Oli, isn't it? This United team. We don't even have our main midfielders there really, so that's also gonna play a part. I don't see United pulling out anything here.
Because of how adventurous City are, I think it's possible that we get something, and they are a bit fragile. But from our point of view, I mean, McTominay is not here. McTominay and Fred played a very big part in us beating Man City. So I don't know if Matic can do that job. I don't know if he has the pace to do that job. And I don't think he has the pace on the transition as well. So I think we're going to struggle in this game.
Well, if you're a viewer and you're not from South Africa, the word "aish" and "but" is never a good way to start a sentence. I'll tell you that much. But that makes a lot of sense. And I agree with all of those points. Look, I think for Manchester United, we're starting to sound like a bit of a broken record player as fans. It's the same thing every week. We expect our team to sit back, try hit other teams with a break. Yes, in the last 5 games, there is a case to be made for possession football, or at least us holding a bit more of the possession rather direction. But even if we do try to go at the City side, we're just not good enough. We're just not. Like, even in a world where Oli does, like, by some miracle, wake up and decide, you know what, screw it, I want to play positive attacking football, real positive attacking football, not just Rashford and James running down the right off a long ball. I don't see us having the quality to keep up with a team like City, if that does happen, obviously. So it's a weird one. Anyways, shall we bring up the predicted setup for Manchester United then? The formation?
Let's do it.
Well, it's a team that we're used to seeing as Manchester United fans. I suppose the likes of Fred, Rashford, Martial, perhaps Greenwood too, and maybe Wan-Bissaka can be added to that list. Bring a lot of comfort to this team, but nothing unusual, nothing we haven't spoken about before. How do you think this team, at this period of the season, will go against the City side? Do you think they'll be a bit more fragile because of the amount of games we've played? And the fact that City might want revenge.
Yeah, I think Pep will want to hit us. They're gonna hurt man out here. They're gonna want. Yeah. I just hope that we don't get humiliated too badly. You know, I'll take an L, but I don't want to be humiliated. You know, I've had enough as a United fan. But yeah, you know, it's very interesting because like even this lineup here on the screen, I'm worried about Maguire because obviously Oli said he played through it in the second half. He came out and said Maguire did play through in a slight little nibble. And I was like, what did you see again? Like, when is Maguire going to get a break? You don't play Jones, Axel. I think Axel might be back, but can't just throw Axel in a game like this, I feel. But so yeah, I don't know if Maguire's going to play. I don't know if Martial has recovered from his illness. Heck, I don't even know if Oli will actually play Greenwood because, you know, he does love James. He does love James.
Are you saying we might see pink boots?
If Maguire's injured, who else? I mean, like, who else if Maguire's injured?
That's not a comforting thought at all. That's not a comforting thought, and I think that I can agree with most of that. It's a tough time to be a United fan. Rita, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't think we'll ever get thrashed, to be honest. Okay, it can happen, but I trust that backline enough not to get thrashed. I'd like to see Brennan Williams play. I think his energy and his runs can help us in this game. But I'm worried, because I know Pep will change something because he's not stubborn. He knows you have to change something from the tactic that didn't work. Oliver, he's going to do the exact same thing he did against City at the Etihad, and I don't think it'll work again.
I suppose.
I think
go on.
James will play, to be honest, because Ole is stubborn.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. I suppose from a United point of view, the light at the end of the tunnel for me is that. This is a bit of a more fragile Manchester United team, certainly in the last few weeks and in the last few results. Yes, they've won a lot of games, but they're not the same City team we've seen in past times that we would have thought is one of the greatest teams in a while. So I think for United, and going back to what you were saying, they won't get thrashed because if Manchester City tries to come at us, there's always that lingering vulnerability at the back, and that feeds right into United's way of playing.
Yeah.
I think what would be interesting and what I would say about this setup, there's not much to talk about really, but for Andreas Pereira and Greenwood in particular, I think this is a big game. If Greenwood does start, it's a massive game for him, because this will be the first time Ollie's picking him in a big game, a real big game. Not a Burnley, I need to prove that I'm still good enough for this job type of game. A real big game against a team that is a force to reckon with in Europe. So how do you guys agree with that? What do you think of Greenwood then? What he's got to do in this game?
I think good performances must be rewarded, even if whatever your age is. I think I would start Greenwood. He deserves it. I think Greenwood would be better because he can do things. I just feel like he's got much to offer, more to offer than Daniel James. Is just a bit of a pace merchant, and is more one-dimensional. But I feel like Greenwood must start. Like, I would play Greenwood. I'll play Andreas. Heck, I'll play anyone there. But if I see Lingard, I'm gonna go mad. I'll lose my mind. I'm telling you now, in the reaction, even if we win and Lingard puts in a masterclass, I'll be like, no, like this is not the way. This is not the way.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw, I think Ollie will play. I would like to see Williams play, because I that's just a personal preference. It's my opinion. I really do like Williams for sure, but I don't mind if Shaw plays either. But I would like to see Williams.
Yeah. Like, what I don't get, like, Greenwood isn't slow. He's pretty quick. He's not as quick as Dan James, of course, but he's pretty quick. So he'll still work in the system. And he has the goals. So I think it's a no-brainer, really. Greenwood should play in this game.
It's an age thing. He did play midweek, firstly. And secondly, it's an age thing. I think with Greenwood, we haven't seen enough of him to say that he's perfect. I mean, well, he's not perfect because he's human. I think with Greenwood, it's just a matter of trying to nurture him and bring him into the team slowly for Manchester United, because defensively, I think we haven't seen enough of Greenwood to say that he is the guy to keep Manchester City out 100% and won't make mistakes. At least with Shaw, you can have Shaw all you want in terms of fitness, but he's got the experience. We saw it in parts against the Arsenal game. Like, he didn't do anything rash against Pepe. Yes, he was under the pump and Pepe was running at him all the time, but he was trying and he didn't let that get to his head. And I think that's where you look towards your older players as Ollie. Of course, it does come down to opinion at the end of the day, but it's just a risk factor. I'm just trying to explain what his thinking might be behind that. Matic, he's played a lot of games this month, hasn't he? In the last month, I should say.
Well, it just shows how bad our recruitment and squad depth is. This is all at the beginning of the season when we didn't sign anyone, and that came back and it hurt us.
Will we see an even worse Nemanja Matic than we've become used to because of his... I question, obviously everybody has doubts about his legs. It's no secret that Nemanja Matic is an older player and he's lost a bit of that pace. But is it worse now because of the amount of games he's playing all of a sudden from sitting on the sidelines?
I think he's been decent in the last few games. Yes, maybe in general I can agree with that, but he's been decent in the last few games. What I've come to notice is that Manchester is so exposed because we play on the counter, so we can see the whole pace thing. I feel like in a different team he might be playing a bit better than he is now, and I think in a different league he actually might seem like a really good player.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like even though we've been playing a lot of games, I think it will show in Matic. He's not the fastest. He is in decline and he's getting old. But he's done okay, I would say. I'd say maybe average, just a below average. Good, but good for Matic standards.
Yeah. Like, I really want to see I really want to see what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I question his fitness. That's all. It's not an issue of pace or skill. It's just the fitness. That's all I question.
I think I just remember Premier League fitness. It's not easy to play in the Premier League. We've seen it time and time when Premier League teams versus teams from other leagues and other countries, that Premier League teams dominate second halves because other teams just get tired. So the fitness in the Premier League is high.
Well, that's certainly true. In a combined XI with Manchester City and United players, how many of these United players do you even make a case for?
Wan-Bissaka. I make a case for Wan-Bissaka. I make a case for either Maguire or Lindelof to get in one of the centre backs. Attacking wise, midfield, I don't think anyone.
Yeah.
If we had a fit Pogba, maybe Pogba.
In
If we
terms
don't
of goals, I think a case for Rashford can be made purely on goals, not talent or skill, but goals, because that's the most important stat in that front.
Yeah, maybe you can go with like a Sterling, Aguero, Rashford / Martial, whichever one you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
Personally,
De Gea?
no.
No,
Edison?
nope.
I think
Edison.
the only person who gets in at the moment is Lindelof. Because every other department, I think City's better.
So you think Maguire? I mean, not Maguire. You think Wan-Bissaka won't get into a combined 11?
I don't, because I think Walker's not horrible defensively. He's decent, and then going forward, he's amazing. He's more balanced than Wan-Bissaka is.
That's so true. I think that's where the Wan-Bissaka argument gets killed immediately, because with Kyle Walker, it shows that you don't really need someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka in your back four, which alludes to my point when we were talking off the show. You don't need an amazing player. You just need a player who can do the right things at the right times in the right system. And I think Kyle Walker matches that. For counter-attacking, especially with the way United play counter-attacking and the way they rely on youth, I think a lot of help from the fullbacks is needed, and that's where Wan-Bissaka is lacking. And even Luke Shaw, you could say. But I mean, because of how highly we rate Wan-Bissaka, we talk more about it with him than we do with Luke Shaw. Yeah. Whereas with Luke Shaw, it's like if he whips in a good cross, it's like it's a bonus,
Yeah.
Just sort of like, well done, you crossed it, but it's not. It's not anywhere in the conversation.
But yeah, I don't think many United players get it.
De Gea's a good keeper, but I think at the moment Edison offers more.
Yeah. Heck, personally, again, like De Gea, I wouldn't play De Gea. I think Romero deserves to start also.
Yeah, on form, there can't be a case made for David De Gea. He's definitely lost his head a bit in the last few months.
Oli actually came out in the press conference and he was saying about how Romero might deserve a start actually because he's kept a lot of clean sheets and he's a solid goalkeeper.
Yeah, definitely. If in a scenario where United win, who do you think in that front three, and you're only allowed one answer, who do you think is going to score the goal? The magic out of nothing.
Greenwood. If he plays, if he doesn't play Greenwood, it'll be Martial. Like, so if James is there instead of Greenwood, I think Martial will pull something out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree, Greenwood. I think if Pep's not stubborn, we're going to be in a situation where we don't know what to do. We don't know if you counter or hold the ball, and they're going to dominate play. So I think someone like Greenwood can make something out of nothing.
Yeah, well, you heard it from yourself. I think the general consensus here is that this is really Manchester City's game to lose. They are the favourites. Predicted scores then, gentlemen, for this game. There really wasn't much to talk about, but yeah, predicted scorelines.
It's tough. I'll let Malota go first.
It is a tough one. But I just think we're in a very difficult place. I feel morale is really bad. And I do think Pep will learn from his mistakes. So 2-1 Man City.
That's a fair score,
I think if Pep plays like a strong team, like basically starting 11 that you would play in the Premier League or something, I think we'll lose 3-1. And if he plays a bit of a weaker side and plays like a Jesus or a Foden or something, I think we'll lose 2-0 or something.
It is tough.
It's tough.
So you're saying we're going to score against a stronger team, but not against a weaker team. That's interesting. I'm not having a go. I'm just. I just
feel like because if City keep on going for the golden goals, I feel we'll have more chances to get a goal.
It's really it's going to depend on City defending. City can be wild in defending sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen the City team drop silly points and make big boy mistakes. So anything can happen. And like I said, if you're a United fan, as soon as that whistle blows, you are nothing but a W for United. But very tough. I can't see any way winning. Even on individual brilliance, I'm struggling to see a win.
If Laporte was back and playing in this game, would give us no chance.
If this match does come to a bit of a stalemate, perhaps some of the pace is lost, and then there's a little bit of life that needs to be injected in it, like we saw against Wolves and really many United games. I think someone like Juan Mata, because of his link-up play and his 1-2s will be so key for Manchester United. If the onus is on us to chase the game, I think we need that. Because with this team, with that front four or front three and Andreas included, I think it relies heavily on City not having anything at the back. So on the break, basically. And I think if that doesn't happen, it's going to force United to actually go after the game, whether they're behind or not. And I can only see that happening with someone like Juan Mata. Or we might have another scenario where Greenwood is dropping into a position he's not used to playing. Or even Martial, actually, because he does that as well.
Yeah, I really hope Martial is recovered from his illness or whatever it is. I really think we need Martial for this game.
It's the flu bug. It's the January flu bug. It hit the English cricket team. 5 or 6 of their players couldn't be on the field against South Africa because of an illness. So football is not immune to that either. It's a weird one.
Plus, we must remember this is going to be 2 legs. So this is the first leg anyway at home.
It will be 2 legs. It will. The game at the Etihad, I think, is going to be far more interesting and far more intriguing if things don't go City's way at Old Trafford.
If we lose this game, we're in such a funny situation because what do we do at the Etihad? Do you sit back and counter? You don't chase things like that.
Yeah.
So
It's a strange one. It's a strange one. I do think something we haven't really touched on, well we have, but not enough anyways. I think for Manchester City, because they obviously lost the previous Manchester derby, they'll be looking at this Manchester side and thinking, well, these guys are licking their wounds because they just lost to Arsenal. We can take advantage of them. Plus, there will be a bit of added revenge for the previous game. I think the City players will be far more up for it. And I don't say that because of the obvious result at the Etihad. I say that because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in recent weeks, even with the whole RVP saga, when he came out and called him out on it, I think he's starting to lose the competitive spirit. I mean, you could argue that he's already lost it, but I think it's getting worse at Manchester United at the moment. And I don't see these players having the mentality they need to push on and make something happen. Because against Wolves, I know it was a weaker team playing against Wolves, but still, against Wolves, United didn't look like they wanted to win that game in the second half.
Yeah, it didn't look like we were doing anything. It just looked like we were just there because, it's our job and we have to
because
be
there's
there.
2 teams on a football pitch.
Yeah, and there's 2.
One
and
goes position, the other one goes
these
the
players
other.
do love Oli. So I wouldn't be surprised even if Oli doesn't rate it and he's not feeling up to it. I feel like the players would want to do it for Oli, and I feel like, you still got the Oli in fans and stuff. So I feel like there's Oli support, but I just don't think that's
like
enough.
Yeah, exactly. I think you've hit it bang on there. I think they will want to do this for Oli, but desire isn't enough. I think the mentality in this team is getting weaker, and particularly around this time.
Yeah, I feel like the mentality in general is weak, but I also feel like players get the energy from the coach, and I feel like Ole looks a bit defeated at the moment.
He does.
Yeah.
He's got the bags under his eyes. He's got the awkward smiles and the stares into space at really some odd times. And it's just, he doesn't look like a very healthy man at Old Trafford.
He looks like he's clinging on the hope of the transfer window. Besides that, he has no other cards up his sleeve. He's done.
Like if you look at the picture of Oli on our screen now, it's Marcus's favorite. He's doing that thing.
My favorite picture. He's got his bottom lip tucked in, his eyes wide open, and almost staring into space.
I remember that game. City was just having us. Yo! With no chance.
Yeah, I often say off of the show that body language is such a big part of a manager. Don't listen to what a manager says. What they say is important, but what's more important is the energy, the vibe, the body language, and the tone of voice. And when I hear Ole Gunnar Solskjaer speaking in some of these press conferences, he just doesn't sound like the guy he doesn't sound like the kind of guy who would force a reaction out of you. He sounds like more the kind of guy who's going to play a supportive, pat on the back type of role and tell you it's okay rather than what you need to hear.
Yeah, like a dad.
Pretty much.
Proud dad. He doesn't give the aura of, I'm the boss of this club.
Yeah, he doesn't. And a lot of that might come down to, well, obviously his personality. And the other part of it might be his obsession with youth. Perhaps he doesn't want to go too hard. I don't know. It's a topic for another day. But yeah, I think, gentlemen. Yeah, you were going to say?
Look at Pep and Klopp's aura on the sideline. Just look at the intensity Liverpool and Man City play at. It says everything.
Mm-hmm. And also, you just got to live a little. You know, being Mr. Positive is great and all, but you just got to live a little. You just got to be little bit human. Everybody has that dark side to them, whether it's 0.5% of your personality or 30%. I hope it's not 30%, but I'm just saying, you just got to live a little. You got to let that competitive side of you come out, because that's what it's about at the end of the day. So, but anyways, I think that about wraps it up, gentlemen. Any more things you would like to discuss with regards to this game?
City,
really.
Pep, please don't bash us too badly.
Yeah, I think it's tough right now.
Yeah, well, if you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. Please do consider subscribing. Get in the comments. It's a paper-thin Manchester United side looking to get away with murder. And it's a City side that will be looking at themselves, probably bemused, baffled, unsure, full of doubt, riddled with confusion, if they don't get a result against this weak Manchester United side. So then, peace out. And we'll catch you in the next one.